Pride Month. Is there progress? I can only talk from my point of view, in my experiences, my observations. In my experience, my observations, it reminds me of something that my mother said frequently. My mother was a feminist. My mother worked in a women's center large majority of her life. She worked with issues of poverty and inequality, abuse, all kinds of things. And she would say, that people say, well, we made a lot of progress. And her response was kind of like, yeah, but there's a long way to go. And I feel like it's like that with the LGBT spectrum. And in my experience. So like, the reason why this thought came to me, I was on a dating site, and it was an LGBT dating site. So that's not actually the reason. The reason why this came to me was Matt Walsh's "What is a Woman?" I think for somebody to have to make a piece of hateful propaganda, piece of fascist hateful propaganda like that, you have to be kind of desperate. He was on the Dr. Phil show, and he got completely disgraced by, I think, 2 non-binary people, and then he kind of like rallied against that, and then made this documentary. But this documentary is not available to the public, right? And there is a reason for that, because it's hateful. Obviously, right? They're keeping it amongst the people who hate people like me. So obviously it's a piece of hateful propaganda, that's there to like damage people's lives. That's progress, in a way. That's progress in a way because it has become so commonplace. I was watching the one section where they had they were talking about, in the classrooms, they had kids who identified as cats. And you couldn't say that this is not their identity because it's an LGBT identity to identify as a cat. I mean, this is completely ludicrous. Completely ludicrous. I don't know where you find that, but they found that. And then they started talking to this one girl who was a girl who transitioned, who like was kind of like emo with some like crazy makeup, and she identified as her transgender wolf or something like this. And she apparently like hung out with wolves and talked about communicating with wolves, and again, completely ridiculous. You watch someone like Ariel Scarcella, just come for us and literally make money off of it, or just all of this stuff, right? All of this backlash. The backlash is progress. Could it go backwards? Yes, it could easily go backwards. You look in places like Texas where abortion rights and trans rights and stuff like that, it's like the government is coming to destroy any level of bodily or identity kind of like autonomy. But the fact that it is so there was such a backlash, such an incredible backlash, denotes that there has been incredible progress. I know that sounds really backwards, but in a way it denotes there's incredible progress. When it gets, for someone like me, when it gets down to the point of watching Matt Walsh have someone talk about being a transgender and a wolf at the same time, this completely kind of ludicrous thing, says that it has become so commonplace.